You recently spoke at QCon San Francisco, so I'd love to hear a little bit about your experience at QCon.
Yeah, I think QCon is the best conference I've ever been to. I've been to a lot of conferences. I've been to Kubernetes conference, Docker, a few of SRE conferences, and all of them. They are nice, but the level of talks at QCon is unparalleled. Amazing. I definitely felt imposter syndrome by speaking there. I felt like I don't know what I'm doing here. I mean, all of these people are experts. They speak really well. My English is not that good. I don't know what I'm saying. I only have a YouTube channel. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing here. But I think I got a good feedback about my talk, so I think I did well. But yeah, QCon was amazing, and I think it's definitely something that you need to try if you can. And if people invite you, yeah, for sure, go for it.
Thank you so much. Good day, folks. This is Shane Hastie for the InfoQ Engineering Culture Podcast. Today, I'm sitting down with Pablo Fredrikson. Pablo, welcome. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you for the invitation.
Now, we came across each other because you spoke at the recent QCon San Francisco conference. But before we get into that, who's Pablo?
Okay, thank you for asking. So yeah, my name is Pablo Fredrikson. I'm a principal engineer at Bitso. I've been working in the field for about 18 years now. Feels like a lot of time, and it's been a long time. I started working for a cyber cafe here in Argentina, where I live. Yeah, I started moving forward in my career. Started, as I said, in a cyber cafe. Then I moved to a few software companies, and I learned. I understood also that I wanted to help, like engineers, to do their job. So basically, that is what an SRE does, right? It tries to allow developers to move forward and to put their code in production faster, right? I remember in my previous company when I had the interviews, I was asking the developer team, "Hey, what is your biggest problem or your biggest gripe that you have with the infrastructure team?" When I wanted to join, and they all said something like along the lines of, "Yeah, it's taking a lot of time for me to put my code into production. Right? It takes like a few days." And I remember joining the company and saying, "Okay, our goal now is to make it possible to start writing code and put it in production in less than 1 day." So that's basically what an SRE does. It enables developers to put that code in production quickly, of course, in a safe way and efficient way, to making sure that both the code is quickly in production and also it's stable and the infrastructure is stable and everything works fine. So that's what I do. And I also have a YouTube channel where I make videos about what I do every way at work, good practices about engineering in general and technologies like Docker, Kubernetes, and all of that. Try to share my knowledge there.
Now, that YouTube channel is in Spanish.
Yes, my YouTube channel is in Spanish.
And I know that there's a story to why you chose to do it in Spanish. So tell us that story.
So when I started, I noticed that there were a lot of channels talking about what I do, right? Like SRE technologies and good practices. But there were no channels in Spanish. And in Argentina, where I live, even though the English level is pretty good, I mean, most people can understand English. Not all of them can speak it, but we do have English classes mandatory at school since you are a kid. So most people can kind of understand English, but it's not like 100% of them. And there are some people that need more help. And as you know, also in technology, most of the content is in English, right? Documentation, guides, tutorials, and all of that. So I wanted to help those people. I wanted to help the people that maybe are not too familiar with the English language. They are not too comfortable speaking or understanding it. And they maybe need someone like closer to them to explain some of the subjects. So yeah, I started this channel in Spanish, and I only make videos in Spanish. I do have some interviews with some speaking English speaking people. I do have subtitles for them, So yeah, I make sure that always share my content in Spanish. So people that maybe don't have the knowledge or maybe don't have the means to get the English classes, they can understand and get at the maybe the same or at least closer to the level of English speaking people. So that's my idea.
Mhm. So giving back to the community in a way that they can consume it and use it in their local
Yeah.
language. Your talk at QCon, 5 steps to building a personal brand for elevating your influence. Tell us,
Yeah.
why does a personal brand matter?
Oh, it's really important. And actually, of course, as I mentioned, I started working in this field for 18 years ago. But my YouTube channel is pretty much like it's new, right? It has a few years. But actually, my previous job, I got it because of my YouTube channel. I had some people that watched my channel and they liked my I don't know, my personality maybe, and also they thought that they have knowledge. So they reached out to me and invited me to have an interview. So that by itself is a good example, right? Just for having like a public brand, right? It definitely gives you more opportunities, and this is not only for public things, right? You don't need to be only like sharing your knowledge publicly. You can do it locally in your company. So it's really important to not only help other people outside your company, but you can also help people inside your company. And that definitely gives you more visibility. I have some examples of things that happened during my experience in previous jobs, and all of them are because I made something that got noticed, right? So, for example, I remember having an issue with some load balancers, a technical thing that happened in one of the companies, and I remember fixing the problem, but also then talking about it, like in an engineering all hands, right? And I'm exposing the problem that we had, and obviously talking about the mistake I made. It was a human error, right? But what we learned and all of that, and people like that, and they remember that. And I remember after a few years after that, I was on an offsite, and the company was 100% remote, so we never met each other before that. And the CEO of the company just was walking by, and he saw me and said, "Hey, Paulo, I remember you. I remember that you gave that talk about the error that you made and what you learned about it. That was really cool. Thank you for that." And it just that small interaction meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to me because I didn't think that the CEO would care about this technical problem, right, that we had, but he remembered that a few years after. So I think that's really important because I remember after that also he mentioned me a few times during some other meetings and all of that. So having visibility and working on projects that have visibility is really important and will help you in your career. It will help you grow and get to those like higher levels.
What if I am more more introverted? I just want to be in the back, let people, tell me what to do. I'll do it. I'll do my job really well. I'm uncomfortable stepping up.
Hmm. That's a really good question, and sometimes it's unfair, right? Because some people are really capable, and that doesn't mean that they want to, as you said, share their knowledge or maybe get noticed. And there are some other ways that you can do. Maybe you don't want to give a talk, but maybe you can like write a blog post or maybe just an email, right? Or maybe mentoring someone to help them, right? So in most companies they have like a mentoring program and you can sign up to help someone else, and is like a really close thing. I mean, you don't need to be exposing to a lot of people at the same time. It's just one-on-one situation or maybe a small group. So I think there are some things that you can still do to get to share your knowledge with other people, helping other people, and also learning from the experience. Of course, as you know, as everyone knows, you learn when you teach, and sometimes you need to also refresh some things in order to teach that, right? So that's one of the things I learned about my YouTube channel as well. When I want to share about a topic, I sometimes need to learn a little bit more what I already know. So it's a thing that it's a two-way street, right? You help, but you also help yourself and grow in order to help others. So yeah, there are some strategies you can do, as I said, like emails, maybe a blog post, maybe small things that definitely can help.
What makes a good SRE?
I think I remember having a similar question before, and the question was, what makes a senior engineer a senior? And most people think that is experience, right? That is like years in the field. If you ask someone, yeah, this guy has 10 years of experience, he is for sure a senior engineer, right? And I don't think that's always the case. I mean, of course, experience helps and it makes you grow. But I think in order to be a senior engineer, you just need to be a good person. You just need to care about other people. I mean, uh, your customers don't care about what technologies do you use and if you are like a great coder or a great developer. They just care about if the system works, right? So you just need to think about that. You just need to think about your customers and just make it work. And if you think about them when you are working, you are by designing a good person, right? A better person. And the same as like sharing your knowledge. I think if you are helping someone else, you are definitely a senior engineer. What, I'm sure that in most engineering based companies, you have like those like metrics, whatever, like knowledge metrics or whatever, that define if a person is a senior or a principal or a staff or whatever. And when you start going over senior, you notice that the most important things is the impact that you cause like across the company, right? Not only the technical challenges that you have and solve, but also the impact that you have because of those challenges. So funny thing is that I've been working for Bitso, the company I work for now, for 3 months, right? And I'm a principal engineer here. But in the last 3 months, I haven't touched like technical stuff for that much, almost at all. I just did a few things, and sometimes I feel like, okay, I'm not doing anything, right? It's like I feel like in the last 3 months I just made like 1 or 2 pull requests, but no, I've been doing other things that have more impact, and I see problems that maybe can get my help and try to fix them. Um, a quick example is I joined the company and I saw that the incident management team were getting a lot of alerts, right? Thousands. So I saw that and say, okay, let's try to fix that. So I used my experience to fine tune those alerts and make sure that they get less noise and they can work more efficiently. And that wasn't any code involved. It was just some of my experience saw that that was a problem, and I think it's a good thing to fix. So yeah, just be a good person, find the things that people are struggling with, and try to help them.
How do I find those things if I'm busy?
Huh. Oh, you have very good questions. Um, you will notice them definitely, and I maybe can change the question a little bit, because finding them is not the hard part, because you notice them, right? You see, okay, you will go to a meeting and see a problem and say, okay, that's a problem. You find the problem, but that doesn't mean that you have the time to work on them, right? So working on the problem is the problem, is the hard part. And I think you just need to define your role between you and your manager, right? And of course, it comes with experience, and it depends on your manager abilities to see and understand that what you are saying is actually important. And of course, everyone can make mistakes, and maybe I think something is important and it is not. So that's why I need to check with my manager. But yeah, just talk with your manager and say, hey, I saw this problem. I saw, for example, I saw the team that is receiving thousands of alerts, and I think that is something that we need to fix. Because if we fix this, we're going to see this, and this improving. So I think it's I think the talk here is how do you find time to work on that? And I will say that just talk with your manager and explain that is something that is really important and you have to work on that. So yeah, the time will be the project will be prioritized for you, hopefully.
So make it visible, communicate the impact and the value.
Yeah.
When we were chatting earlier, you made an interesting point. You know more than you think. Tell us more.
Yeah, I would say that sometimes you know more than you think when like compared with other people. So maybe there is someone that needs help and you feel like you are not capable of helping them because I don't know that much about that project. I don't know that much about that topic, but for sure there is something that you can help with, right? I mean, to this day, I watch like really basic videos about stuff that I work every day because you always learn new things, like really small things. So yeah, there are a lot of things that you can teach and help others, even though you think that you don't know much, but you actually know much about some things, and you just need to find someone that knows less than you to help them, right? And as I mentioned earlier, it's a two-way street. I mean, they for sure will help you and teach you some things, and that makes you both a better engineer, like a better person, a better worker. And also, and this is really important as well, as a principal engineer or a staff plus engineer, by helping others, you are increasing the value of the company, right? Because the engineers that are working on that company are now better engineers. So the company grows in value because of your impact. So I think the job of staff plus engineers, staff engineers, principal engineers, is to make sure and raise the bar, right? To make sure that people learn and get better at their jobs, so the company value also grows.
So if I am a junior engineer, fairly new in my career, how do I chart my path to move up this pathway?
Of course, it takes time, and you always need to be ready to pivot, right? Sometimes you want to do some one thing, and maybe in the middle you realize that maybe you like something else better. So I will say that try to get together with some senior engineer and try to work with them and observe and ask them to give you ideas and help you, right? Sometimes like really small things, like for example, as a junior engineer, you are probably going to get a lot of tickets, like to solve small tasks, right? It's really hard to see the impact on those small things, and probably there is no real impact. I mean, no big impact. But you can definitely talk with your manager and say something like, "Hey, can I join that meeting that you're having tomorrow about this product? Because I'm really interested on that, and maybe I can help a little bit." And also, there are things that maybe makes you a better fit for that project. I give you an example. Maybe someone is really passionate about music or something that is not actually related to their job, but maybe there is a project in your company that is related to that hobby that you have, and you can help a little bit, right? I don't know, maybe you are a gamer, or maybe you are a soccer fan or something like that, and there is a project about that, and you can say something like, okay, I'm an engineer, I just code like front end, whatever, but I also have some experience in my free time. I play soccer and I'm a gamer, so maybe I can help you a little bit on this. And in my previous company, for example, there was some struggles on the marketing department about visibility and how to manage social media, and I was an engineer. I didn't have anything to do with that, but because of my background on my YouTube channel, I say, hey, maybe I can help you a little bit with this. I can help you how to make better social media posts, maybe give you some ideas, maybe creating a blog post or something like that, because I have this extra experience that I have outside my job, and I can help you with that. So try to find things that makes you passionate about. In my talk about the 5 steps to increase your visibility or your personal brand, I mentioned we all have a friend that cannot stop talking about a subject, right? Like dinosaurs or cars, whatever, right? And their eyes like light up when you ask them about it, right? If a friend is really passionate about dinosaurs, okay, what is this dinosaur name, whatever, he cannot stop talking about it, right? So try to find that. Find your dinosaurs, find the thing that you're passionate about, and maybe do something about it. Maybe, as I mentioned earlier, write a blog post, make a YouTube video, host a podcast, send emails, whatever. Try to find something you're passionate about and share that with your company, because I'm sure there is something that you can do with that passion.
A lot of good stuff in there. Is there any piece of advice that you would give the younger Pablo on your journey?
Yeah, I have a few. Um, well, as I mentioned earlier, be ready to change and be ready to learn about your experience, and don't say something like, "Yeah, I'm going to work on this project or work on this job forever because this is what I do." Be ready to change, because sometimes there are new things that come up, and you learn that you like the better, or maybe you find opportunities out of them. If I go back and speak with someone like is starting, especially in Spanish-speaking countries, I would say learn English for sure, and also, as I mentioned earlier, help someone. I mean, you can help someone really easily. As an engineer, as a person that works in IT, we have the privilege of making a lot of money, right? Compared with other industries. And sometimes we have people in our families or friends or close to us that don't have that privilege, but we can help them in some ways. Maybe you have a computer that you're not using. Maybe you have, I don't know, a book that you are not reading anymore. Just give it to them, right, and help them. Maybe they can learn something about that book. Of course, help them if they ask you questions. But yeah, maybe old computer that you have laying around, just give it to them so they can learn. I remember having a person that helps us with the house, and her daughter, she was 17 or something like that, and she wanted to learn about programming, but she didn't have a computer. So yeah, I had a computer in a drawer and just gave it to her. I mean, for me, it's nothing, right? I have the privilege of that. For sure, I'm not saying that I changed her life, but definitely improved it a little bit. So maybe it wasn't only me, and other persons, other people also helped. But yeah, just I did my thing. I did just a small thing that maybe can help someone else. But yeah, so learn English, help someone.
Help someone.
Yeah.
If people want to continue the conversation, where do they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on my website, pelaonerd.com. I'm sure that it's going to be on the description there if you want to spell it out. Yeah, everything is in there. You can find my social networks and also my email, so you can send me an email and ask me about my talk or whatever you want. I am open to all the questions. So yeah, you can find me there.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Shane. Bye.